Legal cases, legal issues, legal matters. You're watching WFTV's Law Talk with anchor Christopher Heath and expert legal analyst, attorney Mark NeJame.
All right, let's talk about some of the current cases, issues, and legal matters that our viewers are talking about. Joining me today is legal analyst Mark NeJame of the NeJame law firm.
Hey, Chris.
And this is a topic that is happening like right now. This is Brittany Greiner, the WNBA star, former Baylor Bear. She'd been sentenced to 9 years in Russia for basically having cannabis oil in her backpack when she was traveling through Russia. She's being freed in a prisoner swap. This is an interesting development here.
It is. It actually, as we're airing, it happened. We got the announcement this morning. And so it is an interesting development. And, you know, it's interesting that the country, when you look at the polls and you watch some of the different stations, they're very split on it. And the reason is that, you know, when you go into another country, you're under their laws. You're not protected by our Constitution or our statutes or our laws. And so, therefore, if you're going to go into Russia, some would say, and you are breaking their laws, then you're subject to the penalties that they impose. We all know that this was still a lot of politics that entered into this with the sentencing. You know, you would hear maybe some supporters of the Kremlin saying, well, there was leniency. She only got 9 years when she could have gotten 10. But, you know, we all know better. The fact is that she was a political pawn, but she did break the law according to their laws, and she was subject to their penalties. So now we have a prisoner exchange.
And this is also, too, you mentioned when you travel. One of the things you hear people say, they'll say, when you leave the U.S., the Constitution doesn't travel with you. You are on your own. You're in another country. And certain countries are going to be more lenient because they're friendlier with us. If you get arrested in London, England, odds are the British are going to turn you back over to the United States pretty quickly, depending on how severe it is, because it's a friendly relationship. Russia, for at least the last couple of years, has not been quite so friendly.
Well, yes and no. The fact is, if you go and you murder somebody in London, you're going to be subject to their penalties. If you're bringing pot into London, I don't know whether pot's legal or not in England, in the UK, but you're going to be subject to their penalties. If you were involved in such a major offense, then you're going to be subject to you're going to be jailed there, you're going to be prosecuted there. They can't transfer jurisdiction back to the United States and prosecute you here. But if in fact there was something of that political nature, yes, you're dealing with countries that recognize we have good relationships, and that's why you have extradition treaties and matters such as that. However, you don't have extradition treaties with countries such as Russia. And so therefore, it's not like you can say, all right, we've got a crime here, we want to bring them back. That's why there was just somebody who in the United States who just sought citizenship and got it in Russia, so we can't get them. Now they're a Russian citizen. So the fact is that you're subject to the laws of that country. And what's going on here is that, you know, some people would suggest that this exchange, we lost in it. And that is that the merchant of death.
Victor Bout, one of the Russians who we had arrested here in the United States, we're giving him up in exchange for Brittany to come back.
And that was a 25-year sentence. He'd always maintained his innocence. Many people do, we don't know. But the fact is that we got an American back. And that's what's most critical. And in this administration, you hear that. Americans are sacrosanct. We want our Americans back home. And particularly when it was such a minuscule amount that was there. She wasn't trafficking, she wasn't selling. Apparently it was for personal use. I don't think anybody could dispute that. And although she broke the laws of that country, 9 years, it was very, very harsh. And we still have, you know, she wasn't alone there. We're still trying to get others back.
And I want to wrap up with the idea, and this is something that I think we can not hit hard enough. Know the laws of where you're going. If you are traveling internationally, we have a lot of people that watch our program here and they travel overseas. And we also have a lot of people who come visit here in Orlando from other countries. Just because it's legal where you're from doesn't mean it's legal where you're going. It is incumbent upon you to know what the laws are.
That's right. You know, we say it here all the time, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well, that doesn't just mean for America. If you're in another country and you're breaking their laws, then you're subject to their penalties, you're subject to their jurisdiction and the consequences of your actions. So you hit it on the head, know what you're doing. And, you know, a lot of it is really just good old common sense. You know, if it feels bad, you know, if you're hiding it for a reason. Just don't do it. And if you do, be prepared for the consequences.
'Cause, yeah, getting arrested in another country, not only is their legal system involved, but the State Department gets involved and a lot of politics can get involved. It can get real thorny.
I want to say, the jails in many of these countries are not very pleasurable.
Yeah.
And the treatment that you get in some of those countries, you don't have the protections that you do in the United States as it relates to human rights and matters such as that. So you know, just be careful. Don't do it.
Mind your P's and Q's. Thank you, Mark. All right, if you'd like to see more of this segment or for any of our other law talks, visit our website, wftv.com/legal, or join us each week right here on Facebook. I'm Christopher Heath, and thanks for watching.
WFTV's Law Talk was brought courtesy of the Personal Injury and Accident Division of NeJame Law.